cómo se baila el pilón.
So this is a rhythm from Cuba called pilon.
Pilón,
And you
pilón.
want me to show you guys how to dance pilon.
Good, good dancer.
We didn't know about that.
One, two, three. Two, three, pilón. One, two, three, pilón.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Night Jazz at the Church online. My name is Kelby McNair, and I'm thrilled to be sitting down this evening with one of the most dynamic, virtuosic, and charismatic performers I've ever had the fortune of hearing. I'm speaking of the great Miguelito Valdes, a trumpet player, band leader, composer, percussionist, you name it. We're looking forward to getting down to some music with you all tonight and hearing some of the stories and sounds that have inspired Miguel for one of the most, I think, brilliant careers in music. We're very fortunate to have with us tonight. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Miguelito Valdes. Hello, Miguel. How are you?
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, man. It's a real pleasure to be here with you tonight, and I hope everybody enjoy, and we're gonna have a good time, I think.
Yeah, well, what a wonderful opportunity. People that throughout the city, throughout the country, throughout the world have had the opportunity to hear you play, whether in touring the world with groups like the Afro-Cuban All-Stars, the Buena Vista Social Club, or right here at home in Victoria, playing with the top jazz groups, world music groups, and also with the Naden Band. And so now we have the opportunity to hear a little bit about you and your history. Ladies and gentlemen, if you tuned in early, you got to hear a little bit of Miguel's Latin Sextet at the Vancouver Playhouse back in 2016. And I suggest maybe we'll dive right into the music for people who haven't had the chance to hear you play it, get a sense of what they're in for tonight. Christine, maybe we could tee up the first video. This comes from Miguelito's Latin Sextet. This again is live at the Vancouver Playhouse in 2016. This is a beautiful piece entitled Miguelito's Blues. Thank you. Miguelito's Blues, featuring the Miguelito Valdes Sextet back in 2016 at the Vancouver Playhouse. Thank you, Miguel. Beautiful tune.
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of the tunes that I made around that time for a concert. For that concert, it was a part of the Vancouver community, Vancouver Latin American Cultural Center. We did a concert over there. It was pretty fun. I was able to bring some guys from Cuba, from Toronto, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, tell us about that band. That sounded like a pretty all-star Cuban band. Some of the greats in the
Well,
world in that band.
Yeah, we got some locals over there. We got some like Toto, Israel Toto Berriel is living in Vancouver. It was part of the Muñequitos de Matanzas. Amazing folkloric band from Cuba, played rumba, guaguancó. Jose Sanchez, who many people knows around here, he's been living in South Spring Island for a bit now. And but I brought Thompson, Alfred Thompson. He's a sax player who was part of Iraquere with Chucho Valdes for a while, and also he was a conductor in the band with Omar Portuondo from Buena Vista Social Club. Sometime we spent like 4 or 5 years together, touring all over the world, all that. So
yeah, there's a beautiful chemistry between you two.
It's cool. It's nice. Good friends.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for bringing that into us. Now, tell me, Miguel, we as Canadians, some of us have our understanding of Cuba maybe comes from politics or comes from snowbirds trying to get down there for the winter. Tell us what it's like as a musician. Cuba has produced some of the most mind-bending, superhuman musicians in the world, including some of the greatest trumpet players of all time, trumpet players, percussionists, flautists. What was it like for you getting your start growing up? What inspired you? What was it like in Cuba for you?
Yeah. To be honest, in my case, I think it was at that time. Right now, we got a lot of musicians. Of course, the competition is always the key, right? There's so many, and also being a musician in Cuba is one of the best jobs that you can have, because you can actually travel outside the country and make some money. Bring some money to the table. It's not the same. In Canada, you want to be maybe something else that you can make a little more money, right? So anyway, that's one of the reasons. Also, music for us is like life. It's part of our culture so much. Music is everywhere. In my case, I think it was just that I was born to be a musician, to be honest. Nobody in my family before me that I know. So I always pretend when I was a kid to have a little guitar, and I started to sing songs to my big brother's girlfriends. So I remember my mom and my dad laughing about it. But yeah, music was a big thing for me for sure. Since I was at least 4 or 5 years old, I started to go crazy about it.
And tell me about it. Growing up, was that in Havana?
It was in Havana. Yeah, I'm from a little town in Havana. It's called Cerro. We start music really, really young in Cuba. Here you can probably do some concert, like program, like a band program or something like that. And then you decide later to join music, and then you go, in the college or something like that, I believe, right? It's like that in Canada.
Yeah.
But in Cuba, it's a long career. You start when you are in primary school. When you study something like a long career, they call it piano, violin, those types of instruments. You go for a long career. So you start when grade 5. Then trumpet and everything else, you go on grade 6. But that means that, for example, all morning you're going to be doing solfege, music, history of music, everything related to music. And then in the afternoon, you do everything else, math, Spanish, whatever, all the other things you do in school. So it's, you start pretty young. And that was my case. There's also a competition to get in. So they text you, and see how are your conditions, musically speaking, right? If you have the attitude and the ear and everything, the musicality. So not everybody can get in. It's not like you pay and you get in. Like, you have to be choose from them to be part of the school. So that's what I did. I couldn't wait, and I just show up there. I wanted to be a percussionist, but the school that was close to my house, they didn't have percussion. They only have like trumpet, clarinet, guitar or conducting a choir or something like that. So I say, okay, I'll take the trumpet and maybe switch later. Never happened, man.
Ah, beautiful. Okay, tell us about this first piece.
Okay, so this one here is actually I would love to talk too much. My English is not very good looking. I always say that, but I love to talk. And it's I think it's a funny story. This one is probably the first band that I play professionally. I was part of a kids band for a long time before this, for sure. And of course, at school, I participate in many projects with my friends and all that. But this one is a band full of people graduated from university, and they all were different careers and stuff like that. They have the music as a hobby. I was the only professional musician in the band, but we play traditional music, and that's what I think is where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? That's my thing. That's what I think I can do the best. Is just play traditional Cuban music. This is one example. We're playing here with the great singer Raúl Plana, which was part of the many bands back in the time. You know, I'm talking about maybe the 20s, 30s, 40s, something like that. And he probably in this recording was probably like 70, 60 or 70 years old kind of thing. This is a lot before Buena Vista Social Club, but it was already happening, right? So yeah, this one is called A Mi Manera. It's a great tune, and I was only like 18 years old. And it was the first time I sit down in a recording studio professionally. And this is the same studio that they made later on, the Buena Vista Social Club and all that. It's called Studio Egren. So it's pretty cool. I hope you enjoy this.
Right on. Thank you.
Que no es vida esta que yo vivo, es lo que yo siento, no parece amor, que tengo el defecto de ser muy altivo, porque indiferente cruzo ante el dolor. Engaño a nadie porque soy sincero, y cuando me entrego en una pasión no me importa cómo, quiero cuando quiero, porque a mi manera doy el corazón. Porque soy sincero, y cuando me entrego en una pasión no me importa cómo, quiero cuando quiero, porque a mi manera doy el corazón. yo viviré.
A beautiful, beautiful tune, Miguel. Thank you
Yeah,
so
man,
much.
it's unbelievable. That was my beginnings. I would say, like I have to say, that I was pretty lucky to when I was 11 years old start playing trumpet. But also at the same time, I was part of a project like the wonderful woman Maria Alvarez Rio. It's like when you mentioned Dave Flell over here,
Mm.
you whatever he did at school, she did the same with all the kids that were part of this project, and it was amazing. It was a famous group in Cuba called Meñique, and she spent lots of time with us teaching us different kind of rhythms. In school you learn classical music, Cuban music. We have to learn on the street. You start playing with friends outside, listening to the music, and then that's how you learn. You don't learn at school that kind of stuff. So I remember to these days when I show up in Maria Alvarez Rio's house, and she asked me to play a tune by ear. I was like, "What? What is that?" So she started playing the melody on the piano, and I had to repeat and trying to find it in the trumpet. And man, that was magic. And for me, it opened so much, in my life. Like you can hear the notes when people are playing, or when somebody's playing a chord, and you can hear and just play it right away without even thinking about it. And that was the beginning when I was 11 years old. That's something that I always say to the kids when they come around. I say, try to listen, man. Listen, try to play whatever sound you can hear, just playing in the trumpet and trying to recognize the note by name already. So you have the connection with your brain and fingering, and everything is there. It's cool.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
yeah, I have to say that, and thanks to her, and then I kept going playing Cuban music, and of course this is the first project that I play professionally. We toured a little bit also, and then from there we kept going, man. Yeah, it's crazy.
So, when I romanticize Cuba, I think about music being on every street corner, a
Yeah.
band in every cafe, parties on the weekend with great, great local musicians. Is that what it was like for you growing up? Could you hear this music like the Buena Vista Social Club, what we think of as that sound, that song, that
Yeah,
traditional Cuban
I
music?
would say that, to be honest, at that moment the Buena Vista didn't happen. I was born in '74, so around '85, I think is when I start at school. So this something else was happening before the Buena Vista. So the traditional Cuban music was always there, but the boom with
Mm.
the Buena Vista was happening after that. It was like '99 or something like that, or maybe late '96, '97, something like that. I'm pretty bad with dates, but it was later on for sure. But in all Havana, for tourist people, always the traditional Cuban music has been there. The guy with the hat and the cigar, and people playing, Floridita, La Bodeguita del Medio, all those
Mm.
those wonderful places and famous that people go and visit. They always have like the traditional Cuban music, and it's pretty simple. Just a guy with a bass, uh, a guitar, a tres, bongos, maracas, claves, and that's it. Good singer. They don't use mics or anything. They just play, acoustically.
And I've heard you sing. You sing beautifully, and that.
Well, I don't call myself a singer, but growing up in Cuba, I hear a lot, and when being a musician helps to, and also improviser. So
Mm.
you can actually create lines with your vocal if you have the ability. That sounds good. But sometimes, so, I mean, I believe that people, the voice is something that is a gift.
Mm.
You have to have it from for sure. I mean, you can probably create one, but there's some people that don't know music, but when they open their mouths, it's just like beautiful, right? So I think that way.
Tell me about the next tune. What else caught
Yeah.
your ear
Well, you know
growing
what?
up?
I wanna skip maybe this one that we have. I wanna explain. As I say, Cuban traditional music. We got this kind of band. It was pretty small, like only one trumpet, who helped me a lot to become an improviser, because you have to play the intro, you have to play the improvising in between chorus, and then you have to play the coda, you have to play the mambo. Everything is yourself, so you have to be really creative. And
Mm.
sometimes the singers they sing in weird keys, like you have to play in all kind of keys and everything. So it was pretty cool, but at the same time, this kind of band, they have it also, they call it conjunto, and they have like more horns, like 3 or 4 trumpets, or sometimes even a trombone, different kind of setup that they used to have. But also I was captivated by the big band sound. At that time, the first thing that I hear was this band called the Orquesta de Música Moderna, Orquesta Cubana de Música Moderna. And I just want to say that's where Chucho Valdés, Paquito de Rivera. Chucho Valdés is one of the best piano players ever in earth, from Cuba, of course. And Arturo Sandoval, amazing trumpet player, for those who don't know. Paquito de Rivera, sax player. All these guys came from this orchestra. But of course, these guys that I mentioned, they were the younger guys. So they were the old generation of Cuba was there, and it made them sound like any band from New York, any band from anywhere in the States. They play that kind of music, but also they play the Latin music with that big sound. So it's pretty
Wow.
amazing. Of course, there's something happened. I think all over the world, people couldn't afford anymore to bring this big band, so they have to reduce the bands. So the next tune I want to jump on, and I want you to play that one. Is called Que Viva Chango, and this one is it's just a band called NG La Banda, which is the new generation of jazz players in at some point. They create this band, and some of them were a part of Iraquere with Chucho Valdés, and also with the Orquesta Cubana de Música Moderna. But this is a smaller band, but with the same big sound, and a little close to dancing music too, because they want to try, they want to take the attention of the old crowd, not only people who really love jazz and stuff like that. So they open a little more. So this is a combination of what we call timba music with some jazz influence for sure. Hope you enjoy.
¡Que viva Chango!
Que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, señores, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, señores.
Santa Bárbara bendita, para ti surge mi lira. Santa Bárbara bendita, para ti surge mi lira. Y con emoción se inspira ante tu imagen bonita.
Que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, señores. Que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, señores.
Con voluntad infinita, la arranco del corazón, la melodiosa expresión, pidiendo que desde el cielo nos envíes tu consuelo y tu santa bendición.
Que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, señores. Que viva Chango,
Y Chango,
que viva Chango, que viva Chango,
ternura. Que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, señores, que viva Chango, Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, señores. Con alegría y ternura quiero llevar mi tonada a que en Cuba acción sagrada, donde lo bueno ilumina, junto a tu copa divina y tu santísima espada. Que viva Chango, Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, señores, que viva Chango, y Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, que viva Chango, señores. Con orgullo y poderío haré que tu nombre suba. Con orgullo y poderío haré que tu nombre suba. Y en el nombre de mi Cuba este saludo te envío. Metales del terror. Que viva Chango, que viva Chango, y Santa Bárbara bendita, nuestro camino iluminó. Que viva Chango, que viva Chango. Divina si tú sabes bien que con N que levanta llegaron los guerreros de Chango. Que viva Chango, y Chango con Chango. Que viva Chango. Oye, si la rumba se soltó, es en nombre de ese santo señor. Yo. Zarabanda, 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 zarabanda pa' Chango. Que viva Chango, que viva Chango. Dios del rayo, Dios del trueno, el mortero y el tambor. Que viva Chango, que viva Chango. Todo el mundo, vamos a casa de Nina. Nina, Nina, vamos. Como a todos. Mira que los metales le ponen salsa. ¿Qué va, caballero? Voy a tener que hacerme tremenda limpieza. Voy a buscar.
Ah, amazing.
It's
Amazing, Miguel.
It's pretty powerful. Pretty
Ah.
powerful. This band, it was excellent, man. It was unbelievable. It changed the way we play the music for sure. I mean, Irakere did that too for sure, but this band made it even farther.
Yeah. Huge,
Yeah.
beautiful, infectious combination of dance rhythms and big band sounds and really sophisticated, like,
I know the harmony.
Surprising writing.
Crazy. It's unbelievable.
it's beautiful.
Unbelievable. There were only like 4 horns, two saxes and 2 trumpets.
Wow.
And it sounds super powerful. I was pretty lucky, Kelby, to be able to play with some of these guys after. Right? We did a lot of recordings in Cuba, and I was pretty lucky to be part of a recording kind of team that we have for a while. They still have it now. Of course, I'm not there now, but But yeah, some of these guys became producers, doing arrangements for different singers and different projects, and I was pretty lucky to be part of it. I can mention a few names like Herman Velasco is one of them. He's an amazing sax player. Also was part. Imagine that was the guy who played for Paquito de Rivera when he left the band. So
Ah,
if you're gonna sit in that seat, you have to be,
that's right.
amazing. So Herman and there's some other producers that also I would love to mention, like Joaquin Betancourt. Is we call him that our Quincy Jones.
Aha.
It's so amazing the work that he put onto the charts. And anyway, I was pretty lucky. I wanna show you the next one over here. It's an example. There's I took a couple of links, and it's an old version of a tune, and it's called La Vara Pechanga. It's a tune from Chapotin, which is a really old trumpet player. He used to have a conjunto. Remember I told you about that small band that I was playing like minutes ago, like the first band that I play. But imagine the same format with 3 or 4 trumpet players, and we can play only like a couple, like a minute and a half. Both links will be fine, or 2 minutes or something like that, just to compare. So the first one would be how they play it originally. The second one is under the hand of one of these guys, and putting all the influence of jazz and all that stuff into the new Cuban music that was happening at the moment. So I hope you enjoy this too.
La guarapachanga se puede bailar, la guarapachanga se puede gozar.
Un día yo fui al central, a casa de mamá Inés, y del trapiche saqué guarapo para el café.
La guarapachanga se puede bailar, la guarapachanga se puede gozar.
En Cuba se da el tabaco, en Cuba se da el café. Como cubano recuerdo de la vieja mamá Inés.
La guarapachanga se puede bailar, la guarapachanga se puede gozar. La guarapachanga se puede bailar, la guarapachanga se puede gozar. La guarapachanga se puede bailar, la guarapachanga se puede gozar. La guarapachanga se puede bailar, la guarapachanga se puede gozar.
Amalia Batista, Amalia Bayombe, que tiene esta negra rica que amarra a los hombres.
La guarapachanga se puede bailar.
Ahora tú verás, rico. Sí. Guau, 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 guarabao, guau, guau, guarapachanguita, mami. Homenaje para Miguelito Cuní, felices por ti. Sí. La guarapachanga se puede bailar. Ahí nada. La guarapachanga se puede gozar. Un día yo fui al central, a casa de mamá Inés, y del trapiche saqué guarapo para el café. La guarapachanga se puede bailar. La guarapachanga se puede gozar. En Cuba se da el tabaco.
right, Miguelito. Thank you. Tell us about these. Tell us.
Yeah, it's a little different, you know. I would say a little sophisticated on the harmonies and all that, right? The work
Yeah,
with the horns
totally
and the
hip.
timbales and all that is it's amazing what these guys were doing, man. It's crazy.
And so from the outside, I hear influences of what I think is called rayaton.
Reggaeton?
Yeah, well, like when I hear Cuban music like that, I hear influences of all these different things. Is that a true thing? Like, at the very beginning, it sounded like a Cuban rap. Is that
Yeah,
true?
well, yeah, for sure. Rap. If you call it rap, yeah, for
Is that
sure.
the same as rayaton?
No,
Reggaeton?
reggaeton is a little more like no, it's a little different. For us though, for us.
So,
We joke about it sometimes. The reggaeton players they don't like it so much. You can play reggaeton with only one key in the piano, kind of thing.
okay.
So, but no, of course, it's a really powerful music too, and people have been successful with it. You know what I mean? And people love it. The crowd like it. You have to accept. But it's a little simpler than
Okay.
that for sure what we were hearing right now. Yeah.
And so, what about the influences of like folkloric music, like
Yeah.
music of rumba, music of
Of course, everything
Afro
is
Cuba?
there. Yeah. Of course, everything is there. We cannot get rid of it. And all the arrangements, they're really being done with the clave, like a rumba clave kind of thing going on. Always like that. And if you want to talk about it, actually, we did a project with these guys, Joaquin Betancourt, all these producers that we made a CD. Well, they made it. I was part of it. Uh, and we actually won the Grammy Latino in 2001. And the CD is called La Rumba Soy Yo, with the all star of the rumba players in Cuba. They're part of the Muñequitos de Matanzas and some other bands from Havana. So all over the country, they put together an amazing project and they won a Grammy Latino. I was pretty lucky to be part of it. I share the trumpet section with some of my best friends still until today. I will talk about them a little later.
Haha, perfect.
Yeah, I'll
Hey,
mention a few names. I hope I don't forget anybody.
there's so many amazing things that I see you do on stage. Where you're able to engage people singing, engage the listener with what you do with your huge personality and your joy in the music. I was wondering if you could plant a seed, maybe for some time in here. Maybe you could show us, for those at home who maybe don't know a son clave or a rumba clave. Maybe you could demonstrate. That could be something we could listen for as we go. Could you tell us the difference between those two claves and maybe sing a little tune for us?
Oh, sure. Well, I can just try to make it tumbao happening right now. It's like bang 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 kupiting ping pa bang ting ching pa bang pa kuping kum kum king ta pa chi pa ta kum pa bang. That's what we call the wawanko clave. So the difference is like a little more syncopated at some point. And then if we go with the traditional son clave, where it's like bang da da ding ding dang dang ding da ding bum 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 bing bum 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 bing bum bum bing bing bum bum bing bang. That's it.
Great. Okay, we're gonna listen to that. We'll listen for that throughout these
For
next
sure,
tunes.
for sure. Yeah, no, it's amazing, man. But the folklore was always there, Kelby. I would love to mention also that I spent like 4 years working at the big cabaret called Tropicana.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if you get the chance to be in Havana, you probably were able to.
That's one of the biggest, most famous like
Yeah, I think
nightclubs.
before Revolution, it was there, but it kept going after that. And being part of that was amazing. I met so many people also, but I think I got Jamaya, my daughter here. Do you want to say hi? Want to say hi?
Hey, hola, Jemaya. How you doing?
Yeah, say hi, everybody. Are you dancing? Okay, sounds good. Yeah, close the door, please. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, and Tropicana was amazing, and that's a big, for example, is a big example of how they kept the traditional and folkloric music. We always play some in the middle of the show, like a 2.5 hour show. There was a big section in the middle, which only play with tambores and
Mm.
cymbals. and keeping all the bata rhythms, the the wawanko, everything happening. It's part of our culture. It is. It is. So it have to be there for us. This next tune, talking about Tropicana, I got the pleasure and the honor to meet Guajiro Mirabal, which is Manuel Guajiro Mirabal. He's a trumpet player of Buena Vista Social Club. So I spent 4 years playing with him over there. We tour. We were like roommates for sure, and he was like a mentor. He is actually a mentor, still alive. He's 87 years old right now. His birthday was May 5th, like my mom, so I won't forget. And this tune I just dedicated to him. I made this tune when I was touring with Omar Portuondo. This is a concert in Japan. I'll talk about it a little later. This is the same concert I met with Herbie Hancock and Wayne Shorter, Michael Brecker, all those guys. They called a couple of people from our band to join them and play together. So this is it's called Guajiriando because it's Guajiro Mirabal, Guajiriando.
This song is dedicated to one of the master trumpet players in Cuba. It's Guajiro Mirabal for him.
Thank you, Miguel.
Yeah, that was good times with Omar Portuondo's band, touring all over the world. We did like 7 years around the
Wow.
world touring, and we performed that everywhere, man. That was like a break for Omara. She was singing the whole time. This is the middle kind of tune, so she can take a break. She could take a break, but it was fun, man. It was fun.
And so tell me, how did your life change from growing up playing trumpet from 11, moving through these different bands to touring the world with Omara? What was your life like at that point? What was it like coming home to live in Cuba?
Well, I was lucky enough to met my wife back there, 1995. So I was already married. So it's something good. So I was always looking forward to go back home. So no, for sure it was fun. It was fun, and it was always amazed me still to today, getting to some places and see how big the world is. You know what I mean? And we live so poor in Cuba. Like we have only this amount of things. Every time you show up here in the market, you're trying to buy something and you have like 10 kind of the same thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
In Cuba, we only have one, and that's what you get, and that's what you gotta use, and that's it. So it was always impressive that way. But also musically, it was amazing to meet so many people and still listening to different kind of music. We share some crazy festivals around, and I remember being in Java Festival, I think it's Indonesia, and we spent like a week there. This one was with the Afro-Cuban All Stars, I think. I could be having breakfast, and then next to me was Roy Hargrove, and the next table was George Benson, and you can start talking to them because they're normal people, and they talk. Yeah, it's pretty fun. So it was just like that, or it could be Santana in the other table over there, and crazy, crazy. I just felt lucky to be able to do that, for sure. But yeah, it's always that first impression, like it's crazy.
Huh. Beautiful. Well, it's such a pleasure to have you here. I'm just going to tell people who are just tuning in, maybe, who they're listening to. This is Tuesday Night Jazz at the church, and we're so happy tonight that I get to sit down and talk to my dear friend and one of the greatest trumpet players and musicians I've ever met or ever had the pleasure of hearing or playing with. This is the great Miguelito Valdes. Such a pleasure. And for those of you at home, if you haven't heard about what we're doing here, is we're taking Tuesday Night Jazz at the church. It used to be a really beautiful opportunity for us all to get together and play music in a beautiful space and share space, time, sound, and community together. Now, during this COVID-19 time that we find ourselves in, we're seeking to find a way to stay connected not only to you, our audiences, but also keep connected with our musician family. And so this is one opportunity that affords us a very rare chance to dig into things we don't normally get to talk about. We get to do kind of an in-depth artist profile, an opportunity to hear some of these great artists that you've heard maybe countless times at Tuesday Night Jazz at the church, but to hear their story, hear how they came to be where they are today. So if you like what you hear, please tune in. We're here every Tuesday night. And also, if you'd like to help us make this happen, there's a link that Christine can put up for you that lets you contribute to the work of this ministry through James Bay United Church. And thank you so much. I'd like to take this opportunity actually to thank there's Miguel and I get to hang out here, but there's a bunch of technical stuff that we don't have to worry about because the wonderful, lovely and talented Christine Chapea is taking care of that for us. So thank you so much, Christine, and thank you to Gordon Miller for all his work on this project as well for the last several months. So Miguel, where would you like to take us now in this journey?
Yeah, well, let's keep going with the Buena Vista Social Club.
All right.
I would say that Omara Portuondo, you were telling me where you get that vibe with the crowd and everything, how that happened. And to be honest, Omara Portuondo was the best teacher I could ask for or have. She's an amazing person with the crowd, you know what I mean? She knows so much, so much experience as an artist. And I see music, a lot of the people maybe think that music my English, it's hard for me to say sometimes, but I think it's some of the musicians, we feel a little selfish sometimes, and we just play for us ourselves, or sometimes, we concentrate too much on being, okay, this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. But I feel a lot that music, we just need to bring to the people
Hmm.
everything we have, feelings, we can make people cry, laugh, dance, and that's an ability that we have, and we have to, this is what we are for, you know what I mean? So that's probably part of the reason that I always like that kind of, I always try to bring the show, not only like play for myself, or I don't know if I'm explaining myself what I'm trying to say over here, but Omar Portuondo is a great teacher about that, and sharing the stage with her so many years, I think I only need to look at her and learn, and this is what happened. So this is one of the solos that I was playing for her. I was lucky enough to make a few solos in her show. I was the lead trumpet player also. She was always joking. I was 23 years old when I started playing with her. And every time I did a solo, she always mentioned like Miguelito Valdes, 23 years old. Even 7 years after, she's still 23 years old. So there's this beautiful Bolero. You can play a little bit, and then there's a second solo, like a repeat. But if we're running out of time, we can just make it short. But I hope you enjoy this. This is a bolero called No Me Vayas a Engañar with Omar Portuondo.
Wow, what a beautiful band and a beautiful energy. I hear what you're saying about Omara, and I see
Yeah,
that in your playing, that open-hearted ability to draw the audience in to tell your story.
it was pretty amazing, man. The way she sings, it's just like open the mouth. It's almost like she's talking,
Yeah.
and it sounds like a music. It's just amazing. Yeah, like an angel. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. So I was pretty lucky also to be part of that, and I have to thank Wahiro Mirabal. Um, when they made the Buena Vista Social Club, all these singers like Ibrahim Ferrer, Compay Segundo, Juan de Marcos Gonzalez, all these guys were part of the band, but then they all split. So they make their own band, and there's still the Buena Vista Social Club presenting different kind of bands. So when Omara created the band, they were looking for a trumpet player, and they asked Guajiro Mirabal about it, and he mentioned my name, and that's what happened. That's what happened. So I'm pretty lucky. Uh, so I
Yeah,
spent
well, I think
7 years with her, and then I have to decide because I was married with my wife, and she came here to Canada to work for a bit, and then decided to, okay, let's do it, and let's move to Canada, and here we are. So I left Cuba around 2006, came to Canada, came to Vancouver first. I was living there for 6 years till 2012 that I moved to Victoria when I got the job with the Native band. So
Wow, and was that really what brought you to the island?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Wow.
I was just in Vancouver for like working with many people. Even I started touring with the Afro-Cuban All Stars in 2009 because Juan de Marcos was actually living in Mexico City. Juan de Marcos Gonzalez is the owner of the band, the Afro-Cuban All Stars, and he created a band with musicians from Cuba, but they were living all over the world. So some people from Germany, Sweden, Mexico, Canada. So we got together, and that was a great opportunity because I got together with my buddies, trumpet players that I imagine I didn't see these guys for maybe 7 or 8 years or more. And suddenly we are in Minneapolis, Minnesota, rehearsing for a week. And then we started doing a 2 months and a half tour all over United States. After it was closed for a bit, there was some political stuff. No band from Cuba was visiting United States from, I don't know, maybe 2 3 years or 4. So we were kind of like the first guys going back. It was pretty amazing. Uh, so living in Canada, Kelby, I wanted to pass to the next one. I think we're not running out of time, but I want to talk a little less. This one is dedicated to all my friends, all my people in Cuba, all my family. I would love to say thank you to everybody who have been involved in my career, and deeply say like I learned from all of you, including you and all the guys in town right now that share the music with me and give me the opportunity to be part of music with you. You know. So anyway, thanks so much. And this one is called "Missing Home." I made this actually in one of the tour with the Buena Vista, I mean, with the Afro-Cubans All Stars. And my friend Gabriel Hernandez helped me with a little arrangement there. And this one is a dance song. It's a traditional rhythm from Cuba, and it's called "Missing Home."
Racing Home. Linda melodía.
Wow, what a beautiful tune, Miguel.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks so much. That's yeah. That I was on the road when I was I made that tune and then we played live. I brought a couple of guys from Toronto and piano player from Afro-Cuban All Stars came to town and we did a recording at the Cellar, Jazz Cellar in Vancouver. It's pretty fun. We did like 3 nights and a bunch of tunes that we have there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll say I know that album. That's a beautiful record.
Yeah. Just wanted to thanks again, Kelby, for giving me this opportunity to be with you and the people in Victoria and all over the place. I don't know, the world. Maybe there's some people somewhere else listening to us. And thanks for keeping the music, man, and especially jazz. But I know you do the same with all kind of music, and also for teaching me so much during these years. It's not because I'm having you in front of me, it's just because it's true. I always say to you, and I'm not kidding, and the other guys like Roy Stive and Tony and all those guys that probably heard this before. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm a real jazz player. I just play music, improvise on top of that. But my background is more into the Cuban music for sure. But thanks to you guys, I've been exposed more and more. And it's a pleasure always to share the stage with you guys.
Oh, well, lucky for us. I mean, I remember a time when we were on at a little club called Herman's here, and Wynton Marcellus was in town, and you two were playing together. And I think, I'd say you rank among the world's great jazz players.
Forget about it.
That's true. Well, we're sure glad we have you. Yeah.
Sounds good. So yeah, I just want to say thank you again and say hi to all my friends all over the world. I forgot to talk a little more about my fellows trumpet players, but we do it the next time.
Sure.
I was gonna mention quick like Yaure, Igor, Alexander, Julito, El Indio. El Indio is a guy I always talking to you about. He sounds like a Freddie Howard. Unbelievable. So anyway, there's so many of you guys. So thanks again, and thank you all of you for being in my life and share the music with me and teach me every day.
Oh well, man, you've been a bright light, beautiful to hear your music, not only your sound, your playing, but your spirit that you bring to every time you stand on the stage, every time you put the horn to your mouth or sing or play congas. Man, we got to get you playing congas on the show next time too.
Don't tell that to my Cuban friends, conga player.
Oh yeah, okay.
They won't let me play. Get out of here.
Well, hey,
thanks for putting this together and the opportunity for sure.
Oh man, a great pleasure. I wanted to ask you too. So we've been talking to some friends in this opportunity that we have of this very different life than we usually live. What do you do day to day to keep yourself inspired in your heart and soul in the music? For you,
well, Kelby, I listen to a lot of music, especially lately. I have more time and I've been listening to so many records and different, and I enjoy all kind of music, to be honest. So if you have a feeling, and it sounds beautiful, welcome for sure. All kind of music, and I was lucky enough to be able to play all kind of music in Cuba, but that span double when I show up in Canada. I've done mariachi music. I've done, even classical music. I'm playing concert band every day right now. I never did that in my life before, and learning so much with these guys in the native band also. Music is music. It's a language, but I think it's endless. It's, you think you may know something. Oh yeah, there's a lot more up there that you don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, imagine every country with different different traditions and stuff like. So it's a learning course that never ends for sure. I feel like just listening to music keep me alive.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. What do you think if you were to imagine Miguelito Valdes in 5 years, say? Is there a project you have on your back burner in your mind, something that you're inspired, that you're thinking to do some years down the road, is there another Miguelito Valdes sextet project out there? What's
Of course,
cooking?
there's always things in mind. I've been thinking about making a project with Latin music, but there's a guy, Tony Zucker. He made a tribute to Michael Jackson, all in salsa music. I would love to do something like that. So I know that if you approach the Cuban music with some influence, it could be a little easier probably to the ears in North America, you know what I mean, including Canada for sure. So something like that maybe, and keep doing some jazz. There's a few tunes around my head going on right now. There's always something, Kelby, but for sure keep playing, you know, keep entertaining, playing for people, making people happy, you know, and remember that music is good for you.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
And speaking of such, you have, if I'm not mistaken, a duo concert. Now we never even got to talk about.
That's right. That's right. I wanted to advertise that thanks to the Vancouver Latin American Cultural Center, when we did this concert, it actually was 3 years in a row. I was the musical director of this. We did one about jazz, one about folkloric music from Cuba, and then the other one was a tribute to Canadian composers. You can find all these videos in their website. So Vancouver Latin American Cultural Center. You can even subscribe to them, you know, and register. I think it is also like you can get all this. They're doing this series of they call it tertulia, which is like a get together and talk kind of thing. And the Toto was teaching the other day how to play percussion, but all with the scenes at home, you know, with a couple of.
Oh no, I gotta check.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was really fun. So we're doing a concert. Cynthia, my wife, playing piano. Myself, I will play some conga, sing, and play trumpet, of course. That would be on Saturday. This Saturday coming up, the Saturday 23rd, 4 to 5 kind of thing p.m.
Perfect.
Pacific time. If you want to join us, that would be great.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll make sure we put that on the JBUC church page and let everybody know in our communities.
Perfect.
Great.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Well, Miguel, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to get to hear you tell us a little bit about your story, and I look very forward to seeing your concert on Saturday, and also I look forward to playing music with you soon.
Sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have one more piece to play for you, but please know what a great pleasure it's been for all of us at home, Miguel, to hang out with you for this evening. And I'd also like to thank Christine. Thank you so much, Christine Chapea and Gordon Miller and everyone at James Bay United for helping to make this happen. And tell us about this last piece.
Oh, this one is actually made by Thompson, the sax player, Alfred Thompson. We brought him from Cuba and he joined us in this concert. It's called Crazy Pilon. Pilon is a rhythm from Cuba, and he was joking in the concert and said that I was a good dancer, so he made me show people how to dance. It's a peculiar kind of dance. So at the beginning, I will show you guys how to dance Pilon. So I hope you enjoy and dance in your house. Take care of yourself, everybody, and stay safe. And enjoy the Crazy Pilon.
¿Cómo se baila el pilón?
So this is a rhythm from Cuba called Pilon.
Pilón,
And you
pilón.
want me to show you guys how to dance Pilon.
Good dancer.
We didn't know about that.
Pilón. 1, 2, 3, pilón.
All right. Crazy Pilon. Miguelito Valdes Sextet. Yeah, thank you, Miguel. What a great pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for sharing so much beautiful music. Oh, here's my daughter, Juna.
Hello, Chuna.
Yeah, she was checking out your trumpet playing.
Sounds good. Where's your trumpet?
Where's your trumpet? Little shy for the trumpet playing on the show right now. Maybe next time. Thank you so much, Miguelito, for joining us. And thank you to all of you at home for tuning in. This has been a great pleasure to join in with you. And please come again next Tuesday night for the wonderful Sarah Mereiros, a wonderful singer of Portuguese fado and North American jazz, as well as Brazilian music. She's going to share stories from her life and her desert island list of music. So thank you again, Miguelito, for being our very special guest this week.
Pleasure. Have a good night, man. Have a good
Stay
night.
safe. We'll see you soon.
For sure.
And everyone, be sure to catch Miguelito for the duo concert this coming Saturday at 4 p.m. We'll make sure we post that link to our site. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you again, Christine Chapea. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Bye-bye.